What's going on, everybody? Noah from Stage 3 Motorsports here, and today I'm going to bring you a quick overview on the bench of the new Morimoto 4Banger off-road pod lights. So jumping straight into it, Morimoto has a couple different versions of the 4Banger to fit different applications and to kind of work around the way you want to use these lights. So the first thing you'll see is that you can get it either as a surface mount, which is what I have here on the bench, or as a flush mount if you want to set it into a bumper or a body panel and you want it to sit flush with that panel. But I think the surface mount is going to be what most people opt for, because this is what you're going to use to mount it on top of a bumper or on a light bridge or even on pillar brackets and things like that. With that, there's a couple other options to consider. The next thing is that they have an NCS or an HCX version. It's a little confusing just hearing a bunch of letters, but basically what it means is that the NCS is a little bit of a lower tier LED that isn't quite as bright, whereas the HCX is a lot more bright, but also a bit more expensive. So I think in most cases, the NCS is probably still going to be plenty of light for most people, but if you are looking for something with more output, you can jump up to the more powerful version. The other thing to note is that depending on which version of the LEDs you have, some do have the ability to be street legal, but it's usually the lower power versions. So depending what you're doing with your truck, that may be something you want to consider. With that, the 4Bangers are also available in a couple different beam patterns. So you'll see that you can get spot, wide, combo, or even a fog pattern. The ones I have on the bench in front of me are the combo pattern, so you get kind of a mix of the wide and spot together. You also have the ability to choose if you want it to be white or yellow, and really that's more of a personal preference thing. A lot of times I run yellow for the fog lights and off-road lights on my vehicles, but a lot of people like the clean white output as well. Either way, you're getting pretty similar performance from both of them. They're going to basically project the exact same amount of light. It just depends what kind of color temperature you want. All the variations aside, the one thing you'll see across the board for the 4Bangers is that each one is going to have 3 LEDs, so that's 3 per pod, and they are also all mounted within a powder-coated aluminum shell that's been sealed to meet IP69K standards. So basically these things are going to be completely weatherproof, whether you're on-road or off-road, and they should hold up to any of the abuse you're going to put it through running your truck down trails day or night. Now, one last thing I want to mention is that Morimoto has a couple different vehicle-specific kits with the 4Bangers in them. So if you're looking for something like pillar lights or fog lights on your Tacoma, or a setup for your Bronco with, a fog light mount, they have a lot of vehicle-specific brackets, and you can get these tied in and ready to go. So that way you get a kit without having to buy brackets separately. So if you guys are interested in that, you can dig into their whole lineup and see what they have that fits your vehicle. But there are a lot of good options there. And the other thing I want to mention is that there are some additional add-ons that you can purchase outside of these kits. One of those is going to be their wiring harness, and they do have a few versions, but most people are probably going to be running their 2-pod harness, which is basically designed to just be plug and play with a 2-pod setup like what I have here on the bench, and it has a relay and a switch, and everything is nicely loomed, so it's all going to fit a little more cleanly and feel a little more OEM under the hood. So that's definitely something I recommend if you're going to be running these. And then the other thing is that they have some blackout covers that you can click on here, and those are going to be pretty helpful for those of you that live in a state where you need to have your LEDs covered on the road in order for it to be street legal, and that way you don't run into any issues with the law. Well, that's going to be all I've got for you guys in this video. If you're interested in picking up some 4Bangers for yourself, or you want to take a look at the kits, we're going to have some links down in the description that'll shoot you over to our website. And as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.